I'm a designer by trade, and at some point in my career, I began asking the question, what's the difference between good design and designing for good? As I discovered, good design is all about creating human solutions to human problems. So when we talk about good design, we have to talk about things such as inclusivity, availability, accessibility, terms that you often hear spoken by social activists. And just like social activism, good design starts with listening. It's rooted in empathy, and it results in purposeful action. So when we talk about good design, by its very nature, we're talking about designing for good. And good design is everywhere. You can find it in that smartphone in your pocket. You can find it in the comfortable sneakers on your feet. You can even find it in that handcrafted venti skim, extra shot, extra hot, extra whip, sugar-free caramel macchiato. And you know, it doesn't even stop there. See, the principles of design could be used to create a more user-friendly government, a more user-friendly transportation system, a more user-friendly classroom model. The applications of design are endless. It's application agnostic. You can lift it from the context of graphic design or interior design, and you can apply it to any other area of your life in order to make that part of your life more user-friendly, more human. In fact, one of the most fascinating applications of design is your life itself. And I know that can get kind of heady and theoretical, so I thought we could do a thought experiment this morning. If we could dissect some companies that have used design to capture the attention of millions, we can extract some principles, some tools, if you will, that will help us design a more user-friendly life. My hope, of course, is that it doesn't stop here. Don't stop with just designing your life, but start here and take this practice out into the world. Okay, let's start with the first service, one that is in everyone's pocket this morning. It started in a Stanford dorm room, and it grew to a $700 billion tech giant in just 20 years. Google. What made Google so special? Did they somehow catalog the world's information better than Yahoo did? I mean, that's debatable. But I would argue that we're going to see Google's key differentiator if we take a look at its competitors at the time. First, we have Ask Jeeves, and to be honest, I don't even know where to start with this page. Next, we have Yahoo, and guys, look how considerate. They've included every link on the internet right there on one page for you. Wow. In stark contrast to all of their competitors at the time, Google took an intentionally minimalist approach. No distractions, just what you came for, a search bar. That simple search bar is an iconic example of the principle of irreducible simplicity. And I would argue that simplicity has a few things in store for the user. One, it offers clarity around where you are in your user journey. Two, it offers direction on where you're going. What's the next step? Three, it offers focus on what matters in the moment. And finally, it offers peace from that ravenous black hole that is the World Wide Web. And that's worth paying for. Speaking of paying for things, let's take a look at product number 2, one that has been heralded as the golden standard of user-friendly design for years, Apple's iPhone. Now, is this device complex? Certainly. Does it have nearly infinite functions? Absolutely. But could a 6-year-old figure out how to use it? Point proven. If we open Maps today and we look for a place to go eat lunch, I want you to notice a couple things. One, it gave us results that are nearby, and two, it gave us results that have high customer ratings. Now, those are two things that I didn't ask it to do, but two things stand in the way of my hungry self and the food solving all of my problems. This device is immediately intuitive. All right, let's take a look at one more product, one that has literally captured our attention for entire weekends at a time, Netflix. Now, many of you may remember Netflix from back in the day when it would ship DVDs to you by mail. But let's be clear, Netflix is not a DVD rental company. If they were, they never would have moved away from the DVD by mail business model to the online streaming subscription service that we know and love today. No, Netflix is an entertainment company. From auto-advancing to the next episode so you don't have to take your hand out of the greasy chip bag and wipe it off to grab the remote, to those subtle progress bars beneath each of the show thumbnails to let you know, hey, you still haven't finished that show you started 4 months ago, to that green 98% match that lets you know you're going to love this show just as much as you loved Grey's Anatomy. Die Hard. Anyway, the parts that made up the sum of this product all pointed to the product's intended purpose: easy and accessible entertainment. So much so that the only decision that you have to make is when to stop watching. We have 3 incredible products. We have Google Search, Apple's iPhone, and Netflix. And we also have 3 design principles: simplicity, intuition, and intention. Now, I would argue that these 3 design principles are not just relegated to products. After all, design is not about fonts and colors. Design is about creating a human experience that is more user-friendly. Okay, let's circle back to each of these 3 companies and look at the principles that we extracted from them, and let's see how they apply to our lives practically so that we can begin to design a more user-friendly life. Now, first was Google, and they designed their search bar based on the principle of irreducible simplicity, meaning they stripped down the product so much so that all that remains is that what they want you to focus on. Adding more doesn't always add value. In fact, I would highly recommend that when it comes to how we spend our time, our resources, our money, subtraction is actually a powerful tool to help us clarify and focus our lives. Practically speaking, this could mean taking 70% of your wardrobe to Goodwill like I did when I realized I didn't wear, didn't fit in, or didn't like many of the clothes that I owned. It could mean that you commit to paying off your debt by the end of next year. It could mean you limit the amount of shelf space in your house so you don't fill it with unnecessary things. And can I let you in on a little secret? When you have simplified each area of your life so that all that remains is that what you truly love or need, your life isn't empty, it's full. So ask yourself this question: what problems can I solve by reduction rather than addition? Okay, let's take a look at Apple's iPhone. They designed around the principle of immediate intuition, meaning if you're 6 years old or 96 years old, you can pick up this device and figure out how to use it because thousands of decisions have already been made for you. So in our lives, if we can delegate, whether to man or to machine, those parts of our lives that don't require our attention, then maybe it'll free us up to focus on the things that do. So go ahead and automate rent collection, bill payments, data backup, social media. Now, I realize none of those things are revolutionary or new, but it illustrates the power of technology to relieve us of those time-sucking burdens to allow us to go to the park with our dog or our kids. Finally, let's take a look at Netflix, that's designed around the principle of intention. And it reframes this popular question, what am I doing, with why am I doing it? So if all the parts of your life are centered around one single intention, then I would argue that there's probably more than one best life out there for you. Let me give an example. Let's say that your intention was to provide education to the next generation. Sure, one life might have you in the classroom teaching, but another life might have you developing software so that you can deliver world-class education to kids from every country. And another life might have you lobbying for education reform on Capitol Hill. Because design principles are not about pigeonholing you to a specific life path, nor is it about perfection. And why stop there? Design principles aren't relegated to products or even to your life. Design principles can be used to create a more user-friendly government, transportation system, classroom model, community garden. People around the world have been using these principles and others like them to create design and change in radical ways. And now these same principles, these same tools are yours. Thank you.